Class in session. No, I'm just kidding. I have notes. I needed to live in a different world. Like, this world sometimes really, really sucks. And not to dissociate, to be delulu or whatever. It's simply, I just needed something to stick myself to. So we don't get off too off track. I said, my whys for creating these, what I call them, I call it thematic living. Thematic living. I decided that, you know what, drop those extra goals in all of like these like very material things, and let's go a little Alice in Wonderland with this and figure out what type of world do I want to live in. Let me back up and tell you a couple of influences. So 1, I love writing, I love literature, I love fiction. 2, I had been really reading, was doing Prompts from the Moon List, and the author and the creator, she has a very unique way of acting and conceptualizing questions that I find both fun and also very imaginative. There we go, imaginative. Make sure this is the recording. Okay, we are. This was triggered by a couple of things. A few of the whys was to release myself from anything that was no longer true about me. And then I wanted to challenge myself to live towards a new way of being, seeing, and then doing. So those were my reasons for even early this year wanting to like reconfigure this and figure it out. The what? All of these reasons really pushed me to think about how do I want to live? I end up having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a pretty good number. I think I had like 10. I was like, girl, please narrow down to 5. My 5 ways of thematically living. The first one is, a pond offers a reflection, clay offers new shape. It was inspired by bell hooks in the Art on My Mind. Inspired by bell hooks, Art on My Mind. She has an essay in here about transgression. And that one came from being in a place of constantly reflection. You go through a place of, before I think you can really activate yourself, taking time to think about all your experiences, what you know about yourself, what you don't know about yourself, etc., etc. And you've definitely done a lot of reflecting, but now you need action. Again, pushing myself abstractly, I thought about, when you look at a pond, you look back at yourself. The water, it reflects back, and the dirt, when mixed with water, it creates some form of like mud or clay. It's me moving past just what I see in myself or all the things that I've experienced to a clay offers a new shape, is that I have the ability to mold and to change and to build just new things. Second one is, create from a holy place. We are constantly, as creative, as artists, as business people, as humans and beings, are constantly told to like output. But I think there's something sacred, and a great person who talks about this is Cody Parrott Cook. I think Cody Parrott Cook is their name, and I think they do a wonderful job of talking about the sacred and the practicality of creating. That's to say, when I create from a holy place, I create from a place of sacredness. I create from a place of intuition. I create from a place of feeling like my ideas are mine and they come to me for a reason, and it is my responsibility and duty to execute on them. And so when I come to the computer and I write, or even doing this video, it's less about, of course, I want to hopefully reach people and connect with people, but ultimately if no one looks at this video, I still did it from a place of goodwill, good faith, and intention. And that's all the things, back to what I can control, I can do. And then the third one is commitment as a matter of pleasure. Yo, this is a bar. I actually got this one specifically. This was actually a part of a larger quote in Julia Cameron's Vein of Gold. And Julia Cameron, very famous for The Artist's Way, but she has several other books that she does. And The Vein of Gold is one that is really, really, really good. I saw this quote of commitment as a matter of pleasure, and I was like, now how do you do that? How can you do something? Because oftentimes a commitment to me feels like a burden. It feels like an obligation. It feels like a duty or a responsibility. All these very big drudgery words. And how do I transform that into something as pleasurable? And I kind of was already doing a little bit of ways of like lighting a candle before I start my writing, or listening to music, or really I think it is a matter of like both being present, and being present also tapping into your senses for the experience. And so what if what you saw, or what if what you committed to wasn't a duty or an obligation or responsibility, or I went to the British accent for that. What if it wasn't any of that? What if you found just a little silver lining, and took a little responsibility of finding like the pleasurable aspects of what you're doing? Like right now, I'm connecting and talking and being able to articulate my ideas. And there is pleasure in the fact of trying to engage in a conversation and share ideas and be inspired and connect. I found out through this specific line, I found out, and I now have a new prayer. It was just like, God, help me with my impatience. Oh, I am so impatient. I am so impatient. When I feel like I got something, or when I feel like I know something, I'm like, let's go, come on. And it raised the question of, do I not really like this thing? Do I not really want to do this thing? Or am I being impatient? Am I being impatient? Probably I'm being very impatient. So I want to do this thing. I know this thing will be good for me. How do I find the pleasure in doing it? And as a matter, and when they specifically, the quote is as a matter means as attention, as importance, as, again, maybe another word, responsibility. It is our responsibility. It is my responsibility to make this as pleasurable in this commitment as possible. I love that. It's also like a nice little dichotomy. Next one is a body that adorns gold holds its fragility and beauty. Beauty is just not something that I'm personally delving myself into. It wasn't something that in the past I have a great relationship to. Not great. It just wasn't a priority, coming from a single mother, but also being raised by my grandmother, who's very like chill about beauty. Like I don't know makeup. Like I'm the basis of the basics. What is my perception of beauty? It is both fragile, and doesn't mean, again, like just physical beauty. It means about the beauty that we surround our homes with, the beauty of the people that we surround ourselves with, the art that we ingest, the things that we take in, the things that we create. And I really spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and she gave me like a lot of her like old clothes that she wore when she was like in her teens and her 20s. And there's so much significance, there's so much life in this piece of jewelry that she's given me. Gold, as you know, is super fragile. You actually need to mix it with something for it to hold its form. And it's reminding me to be both attentive and to have care for those things. The last one is create love with my hands. I miss creating and making things. Really, I wanted to give something. I'm like, oh man, when Christmas comes around or somebody's birthday, you're always just like going to buy something. And I was like, what if you learn how to make something? What if you learn how to pick up sewing again and you started making dresses for yourself or for friends? Or I learned how to do a DIY, like, the super popular DIY Louise Carmen journals. Your hands are so powerful, meaning I have an affirmation that came from this, which is care for the blessings that I already prayed for. And that's to say, care meaning in both, like, again, the metaphysical and the metaphorical and the real metaphysical, which is, do I love people with my hands? Does everything I do with my hands, is it creating an act of love, an act of service, to whatever I create from here to bring to life with these? And this is the reason I really love them. There's no like, you got to do it like this. It's just my interpretation, which this also helps me decide if I'm going to do something or not. Like, am I going to put something hateful out there and crazy? No. So then the third part is how. I ask myself, like, what in this world, what does that look like? Love with my hands looks like I'm painting now, or I'm creating DIY journals and I'm gifting them to people, or I'm providing a service or volunteering, or I ain't gonna slap or hit nobody. Like, when I'm creating a goal, I go back to these. And I think, you know what? This might be very similar to people. I think they have mission statements. Or there's also a person, oh my goodness, Rachel Cargill, I think. She had a manifesto. This could also be like, I guess people also have personal manifestos. So probably this like lives in that world too. So I didn't finish the book, but I definitely remember being impacted by the fact that she created this manifesto for how she chose to show up and to live her life. Maybe I should go back and read that. But I'll share all that below, because resources are useful if you want to create something like this. But I had a shift, and it was a recent shift, maybe like a shift like maybe 2 weeks ago. The shift was this. You have to live up to these affirmations. So instead of in the morning reading the affirmations off and like, yes, saying them to yourself, frame it as, did you do that today? How did you care for the blessings you already prayed for? Maybe I cooked for someone. How did you take one small action that you know will create exponential momentum? Why am I going blank? Okay. Oh my God, how did I forget it? It's my favorite one. It's allow the process to change me. It helped me like release control. This is what this statement is. It's helped me just stop trying to control every little thing or how I think things should be, and allow me just to say, you know what? This is part of the process. Allow the process. Allow you being frustrated and needing to go take a walk be a part of the process. I'll break down really quick some useful steps if you are thinking about creating like themes for your life. Things you can do. Maybe collect things that you've been already taking notes of or seeing, or something that's really impacted you, a quote. Figure out why you love that quote. What is it speaking to? Or maybe even why you hate. Sometimes it's why we hate something. And write that down. You can also, where I started out with like, I want to turn the page. And I said, okay, you want to turn the page. What does that mean? Turning the page means to me like being able to do whatever I want when I want, to stop existing or saying things about myself that are no longer true. I want to redefine myself. I was like, okay, now push it abstractly. What does that mean? What is a world? Because again, I like the Alice in Wonderland like concept of it, because that means you've opened it up and that can be a multitude of things. And so I said, I think I just went back and forth, and then I was like, oh, I came up with a pond, and I was like, oh, that's water, and then I was like, oh, earth and clay, and I was thinking about molding. And so you play around with it. Like I said, go to Moonlist. I really did as an exercise of like abstract thinking, so that it's fun, And it's a little wild, but I feel like you kind of coming up with something like that organically definitely makes you more connected with it. I recommend attaching a photo to it. I also recommend keeping it somewhere that you know for a fact that you're always going to look at it. So my notes app, because sometimes what I do when I remember to do this, I will write something that's occurred or something that I've done that falls under that. And so it's like a little notepad that I have in my phone to remind myself. I really appreciate you tuning into this video. I appreciate you giving me your attention, because it could be 100 different other places, but you've given it to me. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. And until next time, bisous.